What's going on? It's Jebril Jalloh, aka Fresh, owner of the Get Fresh company. I'm here with PTW, out here doing a little interview. I grew up in multiple places. Jane and Weston. I lived at Kipling and Steeles. I lived at Martin Grove and Eglinton. I've lived all over the west end of the city. It was fun. It was the greatest time of my life. I was just outside a lot. Steal bikes, go on adventures. Pretty much it. Make money. Back then, Mortal Kombat, Sonic the Hedgehog, Silent Hill, Resident Evil. I'm half Jamaican. I grew up on my Jamaican side. And my mom was very like I had school clothes, I had after school clothes, I had Saturday clothes, I had Sunday clothes. Like it was just like a thing. My mom was really big into fashion herself. She used to sew as well. It was a cassette and it was Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. It was like a single. There was like 5 versions of This Is How We Do It on it. Well, that's the only one my mom would let me buy. I really wanted to buy Ready to Die, Biggie, but it wasn't happening. So how the whole thing started, when I was in high school, I used to buy and sell clothing. I used to sell clothes out the trunk of my car for like years. That's how it all started. Like I started off, I think the first thing I ever sold was a race car jacket. And we would go, me and my boy Jigga would literally go to New York, Niagara Falls, New York. I was like maybe like 15 years old, and we would walk the bridge, like the Rainbow Bridge to New York City. And they had, not New York City, to Niagara Falls, New York, and they had a race car jacket outlet, Jeff Hamilton, flyest race car jackets ever. This is when race car jackets were popping. And they used to sell them there for $10. So we'd go there, buy like 30 of these jackets, walk back in the cold on the Rainbow Bridge as children, literally. I think we crossed with like school ID. Like this is like before you needed passports, anything. And we got stopped at the border, I'll never forget. And the guy was like, yo, what are you guys doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. They're like, where are your parents? I'm like, well, our parents are on the other side of the border. We just came to see the falls and buy some jackets. They were like, all right, first of all, the guy's like, come here, open the bags. He opens the bag, sees them, he goes, all right, gives me a business card. He's like, yo, this is my brother's number. He's a taxi driver. If you guys ever come back here again, call him. He'll bring you to the outlets and then bring you back safely. You can't be just walking up and down. You can't be walking into another country. It's just not a thing. So that's what kind of like started everything. And then when it really took off is when we got the snapback link back in the day from LA. There was this manufacturer that would make Supreme, Diamond Supply, like almost every single poppin' brand at the time. And we were able to buy all the samples. So I brought them all back to Toronto and we did a massive sample sale where Goodfoot used to be. And we rented it out, promoted it for like 2-3 weeks. We literally had like 1,000 kids pull up to this pop-up. It was crazy. And then from there, everything just kind of rolled into what it is now. I mean, all of them are my favorite, to be real with you, because if you were gonna ask me 5 years ago if I thought I'd ever have a collab, I'd say no. Like if I'd ever do anything with Toronto Raptors and have our stuff sold in the Air Canada Center, I'd be like, nope. So I love them all. But Puma is definitely like the number one that meant the most to me. And I feel like we did something that no one has done in the country, so we're representing the country globally with that sneaker. That was the craziest thing in my life. I'll never forget, because my boy and one of my team members, Hussein, he designed the shoe. And he started off as an intern at the store, design intern. And I was like, he came in, but he didn't even want to do clothes. He only wanted to design shoes. So I was like, he was like, can we design shoes? I was like, yeah, but I was lying. I was like, I don't know how the hell we're gonna design shoes, bro. We're not making those shoes. We don't even know how to make a t-shirt yet. And then when that conversation came from Puma of like, yo, we want to work with you guys, it was obviously the greatest thing for me to be able to tell him like, yo, by the way, you're actually gonna be able to design that shoe and it's gonna be with Puma. So definitely one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life for me and my team. And I don't play basketball or rap and I have my own sneakers, so definitely gassed off of that. How it all went down is it was Caravana weekend. I never miss Caravana Saturday ever. I'm always at the parade on Lakeshore, always, every single Saturday of my life. And at this one particular Caravana, I left early. I think I got way too lit. And I was like, yo, we need to go back to the store and do some work. So we went to the store, I walked inside and there was this guy in there. He goes, yo, are you fresh? I was like, yeah, who's asking? He's like, oh, my name is David Ballin. I've been waiting to talk to you. I was like, okay, for what? And he was like, oh, I'm from PUMA. And, you know, we've been searching out here. We've been talking to a bunch of people and trying to figure out who we want to work with. And all arrows just kept pointing towards you. And that's pretty much how that whole thing went down. They're not alive. Michael Jackson. Definitely. Style icon forever. I don't know if he wear my type of clothes, but he was like the flyest. Like when I was a kid, I would like look up to him. Like he used to have like the Band-Aids on his fingers. I would like put the Band-Aids on my fingers. He was the flyest dude to me. Wear one glove around the house. A lot. Like I feel like when we first started, my whole vibe towards everything was like more thinking just like finances. Like, hey, what do we make that's gonna just make money and pay these bills? So that was my mentality. Now it's like a balance of like, okay, make the guaranteed things that are gonna make the money, but also still have some fun. So I definitely became more creative, and like my team around me just became more and more creative, and I started trusting their design sense more and more. Where before I was like nervous to do that. There is, okay, I have a couple pieces. Scoop tea for sure, because the scoop tea changed my life and my whole team's life. We made this jacket, the first jacket we ever made. It was called the ribless bomber. It was like a classic bomber jacket, but we took all the ribbing off of it, so it just cut short and cropped. I remember we put Riri zippers on it. We had this Japanese nylon. We filled it. We built this like pocket. I travel a lot. Built like a passport pocket, so when you're traveling, you put like your passport and your ticket in there. It'll fit all that. That was definitely my favorite piece. I remember I was desperate for money. I think I was like 16 years old. I've lived by myself since I was 15. My mom passed away when I was younger, so I lived by myself early. And my boy was like, yo, I work at Woodbine Racetrack. I'm like, really? Doing what? He's like, yo, all you gotta do is walk these horses and you get paid $200. I'm like, you just walk horses and get paid $200? And he's like, yeah, you only work from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. I'm like, what? Sign me up, bro. Sign me up. That was the worst day of my life. First of all, I'm not an animal guy. Like, I'm not into like pets or anything. In a horse, I've never seen a horse in real life at that time. You just see them like on TV. They're massive. And you had to walk the horse, go back and forth. And really, the real reason why you're walking the horse was for it to shit. So while you're walking these horses, they're just shitting everywhere. And the smell, I remember I left early, like an hour in, I was like, my stomach was turned. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Hillary Banks from Fresh Prince, definitely. For Jamaican food right now, because they're 24 hours, Vaughn and Oakwood, it's called Canadian Caribbean cuisine. And then for Italian, Allegro, South Etobicoke. A lot. It does a lot for me in terms of like what it does for my community. There's not a lot of people who will look like me in this city that have businesses that can motivate other people. Like there's a lot of like black entrepreneurs, but a lot of them don't have businesses that are on a forefront, like a store or something that's in the public eye that will help motivate children to do better and do way better than me. So everything that I do, I keep that in mind. Anyone who knows me from 15, I told them I have a store that's called Get Fresh Company. That where it is, I thought it would be in the hood where I grew up. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be at, I wanted it to be at in between Jane and Keel on Lawrence. They built like this new plaza. It was like a Wendy's went up, and I was like, it was like new buildings. So I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be right here, but that wouldn't have worked out. But everything else, no, like everything else that we do, like working with Remy Martin, like having the brand partnerships that we do, like definitely not. Like we have the same brand partnerships as like that musicians would have, that athletes would have, that like obviously we're not getting the same bags, but we're not far along from it. We're shaking the same hands with the same people. So it's kind of like inspired. We look at collections like how people look at like albums. You know what I mean? So our last collection was called No Sleep for the Dealers. Our whole vibe behind that was pretty much like, you know, there's no sleep for the hustlers. You guys are filming this thing. I know you guys are up 2, 3 in the morning, cutting, picking music, figuring out, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? You know, you're up late nights. That was the whole vibe of that. It's like for the hustlers, everyone out here who's hustling and trying to make their dreams come to reality and hit that success level. That's what No Seat for the Dealers was. So this one is International Rude Boys. It's more of a like, I get inspired for every collection in terms of like what things look like based off my travels. So I do a lot of traveling and I'm just like, you know what? Like, we're definitely International Rude Boys. And our city is like International Rude Boys. Everyone from our city, from the Drakes, from the Weekends, from everyone, they're running around the world and we're running shit right now. So that was the whole vibe. But this one, we got like these resort tees, but we put graphics on the resort tees. Most people just have like floral prints and like all that, or like cheetah prints. This is like, we designed like actual graphics on them. I think those are my favorite pieces out of this collection coming. Day in the life, if I'm not at the store, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone, or I'm on my computer, or I'm on the plane. I'm always like, my mind's always going, I'm always planning, I'm always thinking, how do we do this better? You know, how do we improve on everything? That's just kind of like what it always is. We're in music as well. We have an artist named Anders. NST is a label. I work on the Queen Street West BIA, so I work with the city as well. We program everything, all the cultural events that go on the street. Work with Remy, so there's like not really any downtime. Take your time. Be patient. Things are only gonna get better. I'd say that. Have a lot more drops, a lot more consistent drops when it comes to the clothing. Destroy Caravana weekend. We've got like 26 events planned. We're gonna do our 5-year anniversary event this year. Planning that, putting it together. That's probably like number one, to be honest. That for this year and for my life, be able to help Toronto, develop Toronto, help change the mindset of the people who don't have a good mindset in this city, and let people know what we're actually worth and bring more value to the world.